Hey, how's it going? Checking in today. It's a Saturday, but that doesn't mean there isn't an update or that I've done no work, because I have, and I do. The big thing is that yesterday, after I did the video, or sometime later on that evening, Friday evening, rock and roll, I got all my dates for the speeches that I've given over the last 8 years through Toastmasters, the 10 that I need, 5 from each of the manuals, the storytelling manual and the entertaining speaker manual, and sent them off to our club president, Alison, who immediately put them into the system. And a few moments later, I had a ping on my email as Toastmasters International. So congratulations, you are now a Toastmaster with the Toastmaster Advanced Communicator Bronze. Forgot what the award was there. The Advanced Communicator Bronze. Now, what this means is, well, first of all, that's an award that takes most people a couple of years to complete. About a year or so to get the competent communicator. That's the first manual, 10 speeches, then another 10 speeches. If you're really diligent, you can do it in another year, but let's call it 3 years for most people. It's taken me 10. And that's mainly because I just didn't get into those speeches and those programs and those projects. And so I sort of just let it go and never bothered coming back to them until I realised that if I wanted to apply for this accredited speaker program, I needed that particular award. I needed that Toastmaster status of Advanced Communicator Bronze, which is why I've had to go back and complete all of these speeches. And it's been a bit of a faff, but actually I've learned a lot along the way as well. I think I've got much better at creating speeches in very short spaces of time. None of them had more than 24 hours of thinking time. This is a bit of an exaggeration perhaps. I had a basic idea of what I was going to talk about for, that kind of bubbled up to the surface over the weeks leading up to them maybe, but in terms of actually sitting down and going through, right, what am I going to say? What's the point going to be? How am I going to bring the whole thing together? That was definitely very much a last minute thing. Some of them actually on the day itself thinking, right, now I need to put this work together. That's not my usual approach, but it was something that I knew was going to be part of this process for these Toastmasters projects. And having done that, I'm pleased to learn that I'm able to do that. And in each of those instances, I also know that had I had more time, had I given myself more time, had I had been at that state of preparedness and readiness at that point, and then had another 2 days to properly prepare and tinker with the speech, they would have been really good, and I'd have been very, very pleased with them. So that was a good lesson. I can get to a good enough state in a very short period of time, but to really finesse a piece of work, a speech like that, I need to go through it in the way I did and then go back and edit it and amend. So that was useful to learn, and as I said, it's given me the ACB as well. So this morning, now I've got the ACB, what I was able to do was to send off my application form for the accredited speaker program. So this is the big one that I'm going for. It's a 2-step process. I talked about it on here before, but I'll just a recap on it, more for my benefit than anything. You have to have the ACB. You also have to have completed 25 paid speeches in the last 3 years, and you have to have documentary evidence of that. And you have to have 5 clients for whom have hired you to speak. Write a recommendation form using an official Toastmasters template, and then send it directly. And then you have to complete an application form, have a professional website. I think that's it. I think they're the criteria. Oh, and sorry, the video, which I had all sorts of fun and games with, again, reported on these vids. And that has to be between 20 and 60 minutes. It has to have the introduction of the person who is introducing you. It can't be edited. It has to just be one shot. You can't use multiple cameras. No additional end screens beginning, nothing like that. Just the raw footage. 20 to 60 minutes, a minute over, and it's not going to count. A minute less and it wouldn't count. And it has to be in front of an audience of more than 20. And it has to be outside of Toastmasters. What was I going to do? I couldn't use any of the ones that I already had, so I was able to use the one from Momentum, get that filmed, and I was pleased with the performance. I was a bit conscious that it could have overrun. Ended up being 53 minutes, so perfect in terms of timing. In fact, a little under. I'm still trying to work out where I managed to save time on that presentation. I probably could have expanded a couple of sections, would have been beneficial. But hey, it gave me the criteria checked speech recording, which is what I needed for the accredited speaker program. I was conscious actually when I was doing Momentum that was a secondary goal, to get a sub 60-minute speech delivered. But I also knew that actually if I was really going and if I was in my flow and it looked like it was going to overrun by a little bit, then I would just go with it and I'd figure out something else. So I wasn't using the 60 minutes max as any kind of boundary, because I felt, well, you know, this is about momentum, and if I can get something off that it doesn't impact it in the slightest, then that's what I'll do. So in the event, I was able to do both, do what I wanted at Momentum and also come away with a usable piece of film footage. So now I've completed the application form, send everything off to Toastmasters headquarters. I have to wait for them to come back to me, tell me where I have to send my $100, because this isn't for free. You have to actually pay to enter this application process, I guess, because they have 5 judges who have to review everything, including watching a 60-minute video. So $100 for 5 people to do that and to review everything else. It's fair enough. So that's in the pipeline now, and I think it takes a few months for them to come back and say yay or nay, because if you get through this level, then that's not it. You're still not an accredited speaker. You then get invited to Paris, which is where the international convention is, and this is why it was important for me to do it this year, because usually the convention is in America, and now I've never been to America at all. I'd love to go, but maybe that's the plan for this year or next year. But I'd never been to a conference, an international conference. So this is the first time in a long time that the international conference has been anywhere close by. It's just up the road in Paris, which means that the timing of having to get this application in between January 1st and January 31st, there was a bit of a time pressure on that, which is why I've been rushing through these speeches, because if I don't do it this year, then I'm probably not going to do it. Certainly I wouldn't be doing it in the next year or two. So if I get through, go to Paris, and I have to present I think a 15 to 18 minute speech to a panel of 5 judges and a live audience. They have a set criteria to judge me against and decide whether or not I will be awarded the Accredited Speaker Program designation. And there we go. So now there's nothing else I can do about it at this point. It's out of my hands and away, and I just have to sit back and wait. So anyway, that's just one part of what I've been up to today. It's just kind of a bit of an update on that particular goal. The other thing is the Amoquo Emotional Intelligence Workshop, which is on Tuesday in Bristol. And I've spent a good bit of time today, a good couple of hours at least, going through the workshop, creating the write-up, the notes, the schemes of work, really figuring out exactly how I'm going to lay the thing out. And I'm now here in Bicester to go to Smith's to get an A1 flip chart pad so that I can create in advance the notes, the slide deck. Essentially that's what it was. It was a slide deck, but hand drawn, and take that with me to use on Tuesday. So I've got to get to Smith's before it closes in 20 minutes, so I'm going to finish this video in just a second. But there we go. There is the update for the day. As always, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you got this far, give it a like. Surely, if you've got this far in the video, that deserves a like. It has to, surely. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, of course. And check back in again tomorrow for another daily update. Bye for now.